Climate change makes the environment more susceptible and vulnerable to natural disasters. And then when those natural disasters occur, everybody starts paying attention.
Climate change has to be addressed now, because if we don't address it, then there is no guarantee for a future.
Devastating wildfires continue to rip.
This season has already brought some of the most dramatic wildfires.
Menacing plumes and relentless flames.
Homes and roads were swept away by heavy rainfall.
Killed more than 200 people in Malawi and Mozambique.
That's 5 years without rain. They are suffering from global warming they did not cause.
My name is Vickey, and I am a law clerk / legal assistant. I am South Sudanese, and I grew up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I've recently just moved to Ottawa, Ontario. They definitely migrated out of South Sudan because they were seeking asylum. So that, and also just better opportunities. And my dad actually did get a scholarship to attend university in Nova Scotia. So after that, he helped bring us all to Canada. I definitely love the fact that we have a communal sense of self. Although there isn't a lot of us here, especially in Ottawa, it's a rather small South Sudanese community. We still hold that aspect of making sure we're okay and like making sure we all have resources. So just that communal aspect of us.
It's raining in unusual patterns, and when it rains, it's disastrous most of the time. Okay, it's summer now. On the daily, I was wearing like winter clothing. It's literally flipped. So that's when it like was like, okay, this is serious. Yeah. Also, I think I don't know the environment, how it looks, how it feels. It doesn't feel healthy anymore. Even the smell of things is very different for me. That's something that also stands out. It's like, nah, I'm in a natural environment, but it's not. It's smelling as like. Also, like when I'm by water, it smells sort of like dead sometimes. Most of us, we notice these things, and then we just, because we're like, I haven't felt its impact like severely in my personal life, and yet, it is severe. It's just that I'm choosing to be ignorant to it.
Climate change, it's really hard to experience it on a daily basis because like weather patterns stay pretty consistent daily. But I would say seasonally, I think that's where I can probably say I experience it more. So obviously in the winters and the recent winters, it's been quite warmer than it has been in the past. So like you can notice changes that way, just seasonally. Another thing that I thought about was our like electronic bills and stuff, like just paying for like gas or paying for like heat or air conditioning. In the winter, you know you're gonna put on the heat. In the summer, you're gonna put in the AC. But if it's like freezing or like if it's super warm in the winter, and now you're putting on your AC, like just the fluctuation of bills that we have to pay. I guess that's how you could say you experience on a daily, but mostly I would say seasonally is where I would experience climate change.
It gets extremely hot nowadays and extremely cold. And so the fact that it's not so balanced anymore, it's around the center, that's comfortable for me. So like, personally, it's like I have to tune in again to tell my body to say like, this is the new reality, so we gotta like adjust to it. So that's now another thing that's taking my attention.
So how do you see climate change impacting your surroundings beyond, the weather? Food? How?
Maybe it ripens too quick if it's too hot, but if it's like too cool like this, maybe it's like you can store it for longer. If we understood ways in like our daily life to say, that's the thing that we need to cut off. We all agreed on.
Do you think it's important for people to know about climate change in general?
Of course.
And why?
Because it affects us personally. It's not like a story. It's like it's what we're living in.
Climate change was always there, but it was nothing that I focused on. The only time I would focus on it is when we would have like natural disasters. So like if we have hurricanes or more recently the wildfires, that's when you start thinking about climate change. But on a daily basis, it's really just put to the back of our heads. Because of the society that we live in, it's just so fast paced. We're always just trying to find any means of convenience. And when we put convenience before the environment, I feel like we will always just contribute negatively. Climate change makes the environment more susceptible and vulnerable to natural disasters. And then when those natural disasters occur, everybody starts paying attention.
As much as we are affected by climate change, I don't think that we're the worst generation that is going to be impacted by it if it is not addressed. So the question now is more about mitigation. We have to address that issue as well, in as much as we adapt, so that the future generation will be able to survive. If you watch TV right now, you can spend the whole day without seeing anything to do with climate change. But you'd see people complaining, and some of the complaints intersect with climate change, but they don't even realize it. But no one talks about it because they don't think it's a priority issue. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that climate change, in as much as it can be introduced as a subject in school, it has to be broadly communicated so that everyone can know about it and can have a say on it.
In South Sudan, they really do suffer from climate change issues. So there's constant floodings and constant droughts. And obviously this has huge impacts on individuals that live there. Both direct and indirect issues has caused my family to migrate out. Obviously the biggest reason would be to definitely seek asylum. There's a lot of conflict that happens there. In terms of climate change, yeah, like it depletes their resources. So their resources, their crops, everything. So everybody's just in search of survival and in search of a more sustainable life. So they will go into neighboring countries. And obviously when there's an influx of migrants into a country, it doesn't really result in the best relations within the people. So there's conflict there as well. Climate change affects Canada only by making it more vulnerable and susceptible to natural disasters. I think that's when we feel the biggest impacts. In terms of resources, yes, like our resources are depleting, but we're not starving here. Like we will never be without food here. Whereas because there's a lot of importing of goods, but in places in South Sudan where you're literally living off the land there, it's a bigger impact. Whereas in here, like there will always be an abundance of food, which also contributes negatively to climate change, just our mass production. I definitely think young people and the future generations should be concerned because there's no going back from here. We have already caused major detrimental effects on the environment. So it's just, at this time, we're just buying more time and we're just trying to save the resources that we have. But I would say the younger generations are definitely going to be the most vulnerable because they have to live through it.
Genuine hope lies in us coming together, building our capacities together and figuring out this problem together. There are answers, there are people's answers. We now need to fight for them democratically and decisively.
I definitely pledge to make more practical, sustainable practices and try to be a more positive impact on the environment and be more cognizant and be more aware and keep myself more informed about climate change.